the head unit. Now I'm going to change that to an Android, but the pieces for all this are in the car. I think they're in the glove box. Yeah, they're in the glove box. But to get that out, I have to undo the nuts from the bottom. So just need to work out where they're located to get to that. I'll work that out and continue. Okay, so this piece here, there's just clips in the bottom standard. In the top piece, you've got you can see the cuts in there, so they're meant to flex. Just get a screwdriver in there, pull them down, that comes out, and now I can get to the two 10mm bolts to undo this top case here. Now I could put the head unit in the bottom here, which ideally would be the better place, so it's just not so bright up here. But if you're using the cup holders, not real good to have a stereo there, and you hit the brake suddenly and drink goes all over your head unit. So yeah, we'll just leave that as the glove box. I'll put the head unit up there. Alright, because those bolts are in a awkward position, I know that when they come loose they're going to drop. So what I do is just put a bit of tape around the 10mm like that. So when I push it on, it's going to give it a nice snug fit, and I'll get that out without dropping it. Hey, like that, too easy. So I can put it back in without thinking I'm going to drop it. It'll be an easy install as well. And that is how easy that comes out. Right, so putting this Android head unit in, now it fits in there nice and snug. It looks great. Really plays the part there. Problem is, the bolt holes don't line up, like it's flush there, so I can make the head unit sit back a little bit. Probably bolted into the bottom one there, but I've already looked at them and they don't line up with the two underneath. So what I'm going to do is just going to make a couple of angles here on both sides, get some angles in there to help push that stereo, just keep it sturdy in place, and that will be enough because it's got all of its surroundings in here, little positioning spots in here that keep that from moving around. So I just need to stop it from moving backwards, that's all. If I really wanted to do it the real dodgy way, I could use a bit of silicone and just a bit of silicone and the big job done tomorrow, but I don't want to do that because, if you want to take this out, then you've got the whole big mess of cleaning up silicone. And I always think of the next person because I hate having to tackle someone else's silicone jobs. So I'm just going to put some, just wondering if I could get away with putting a nut on there to stop that from sliding backwards. I think I probably could, like that there. I'm just going to give that a go for a sec. Well, there you go, just need to do that in 4 spots. The nut holds that perfectly where I want it to, right there. So I'm not going to tighten it up yet because these are off the bumper. But yeah, just get myself some nuts and bolts to put around there, nuts on the inside, tighten it in. Sweet. And just like that, it'll be mounted in. And I'll just use a cable tie across the top to tie that, to hold that part there together a little bit closer. Job's done. Dodgy but secure. Just sitting in there at the moment, having a bit of a sneak peek. That's what it's going to look like. I think it'll be pretty cool. Got to be careful though, because anyone who doesn't know wouldn't know that the connection for this, even though it fits that, is wrong. Because this is the plug here for that unit, but if you look inside there to that there, that would almost go on, but the plug is slightly different. But the slightly different plug actually fits into the back of that unit. Now the problem is, it's a complete mirror image of the wiring. So positive and the negative will be switched around, And yeah, if you plug to that plug, or the plug for this Pioneer into the back of that, should be smoking. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to undo all this wiring, and I'm going to wire up this aftermarket kit that I've got into that. So if the stereo system in there ever stops working, or someone decides to swap it later on, that they can just plug in a harness into the aftermarket kit. If they had just left, whoever did this, if they just left it with the Toyota plugs, I could have gotten a harness to put onto it, but anyway, people like to cut and join wires, and it's only twisted together anyway, dodgy. So I'll put this other harness on, solder it all together, probably heat shrink it as well, and if not heat shrink it, I'll electrical tape it, and get this stereo in. Still got the other part in the front of the car to do. I just want to get the stereo in and working. I want to see that working. Okay, so I got basically the first plug done, except for a loom. I'll have to do a different wiring that because it doesn't exist on the harness. Probably grab it from the cluster because it's right next to it. Now with the speakers, with the Pioneer, because everything's reversed, not just flipped vertically but horizontally in the wiring, and somebody's hardwired it, I don't know the color codes for which speaker is what, and nor do I know which is positive and negative. So to test which speaker is what, that's the rear left. Just chucking the 9-volt battery on there, obviously, and so I'll wire the rear left wire the speaker first, and I'll do one at a time like that. Now I'm going to go by the color code here, so the black trace being the power. Now I know that most default times that the black is negative, but not with wiring harnesses. Sometimes it can be a positive lead, or it could be a negative speaker lead, depending on the harness of the car. So I'm just going to follow the color code of what's here. So this is black trace, so I'll go black trace on that wire as well. I'll just do the same with the rest of them. Now with a low powered stereo system, wherever you get this positive and negative the right way around, it's not really that big a deal. It's when you're really pumping the volume when that makes a big difference. But if you was to just experiment that with yourself and put the wires on backwards, it still sounds pretty much the same, and it still works just as good. Just don't put an amplifier behind it if it's, if you think that it could be wrong. Anyway, so I'm going to go one at a time with these, wire this guy on, and then we'll be able to test the unit. Okay, so head unit's in. It's all good. Go home. If I put music on it, then I'll have to face copyright rules, but I've already tested that. I'm just looking at this options on this head unit. So you see your time and date, everything. I like this here, that you can actually hold on to this, say, while you're driving, instead of trying to navigate your finger. Whoa, you can actually hold the side here and adjust the volume just by holding onto something there, and you're good to go. That's YouTube. Scroll the screen across to get the icons, the settings, Bluetooth, everything. Okay, I like this the front screen here. It tells you the speed you're traveling with a little car there. It's not too bright, but I did find that the stereo doesn't dim, but I did find that there is a dimmer wire there, but it's been cut right back short from the speaker wires. I didn't recognize that it was there straight away, but I put a multimeter on it and there's definitely illumination, so I put a new wire on it. It's on the stereo. I'm just going to go on the settings right now and test the video option as well. Got the Bluetooth hanging out, Bluetooth option hanging out here at the moment. It says Netflix has stopped. I didn't even click on Netflix, but it could probably go away anyway. I'm just going to test it. I'm going to have to ground out that brown wire for the handbrake if you can't watch a video on there. Everybody knows that you can't watch a video while driving, so like I just make it say it's an option that you don't have to have the handbrake on. It's less wiring to have to do then. Otherwise I have to run a wire all the way through and everything to get to the handbrake, and I don't really want to do that. I don't want to play any music, so hopefully the volume's all the way down. Just turn it down quickly. Oh, I like that song. Okay, so next bit is I just put all this in so you can see it all nicely finished, but that's basically the stereo in and all working.